Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to just do some gel printing. I was having kind of just a stressful week, and I decided to invite a friend over and do some gel printing one afternoon last week. And I'm going to start off this video by showing you some of the prints I made. Now, the small prints were done on my little plate I use as a palette, but I don't want to waste the colors when I want to change colors, so I end up just making some smaller prints that way. Sometimes I have a page that's too big, so I'll just kind of do several prints on it. I also used a medium-sized plate when I was letting my really large plate dry, and we're going to go through the process of making these prints. Basically, I was also experimenting with a new camera setup, so that was something that I'm doing here with this video, but the video really wasn't planned other than just kind of sharing some of the prints that I made during this printing session. I forgot to turn the camera on when I was making this print here, and I just really love how it came out. Unfortunately, I was doing a magazine transfer, and I had got the camera all mounted, and I started to roll out my ink for doing the transfer and realized I didn't have a card in the camera. And I couldn't stop once you started that process. So anyway, it's just going to be a bunch of fun printing, and we're going to talk about the importance of creative play today, and I hope you find it interesting. So with that, I got a few more prints I'm going to show you here, but yeah, it's just basically let's have fun with the prints. I decided to pull down some of the other ones that I'd forgotten about. Those were sitting on a drying rack, and I'd completely forgotten, so I thought I'd bring those over. And also, I was experimenting on doing some prints where I printed directly onto canvas panels, and that's something I'd seen another creator on YouTube. His name is Yates Makes, that his channel name is, and it's a great resource for jelly printing. I know we already saw these, but we're going to get to the canvas ones in just a second. I also printed on some jeweler's tissue. I had a big roll of this from back in the day when I used to do videos for Paper Mart, and that's really nice for collage because it's so thin, just like deli paper. And here we're going to look at the printing directly on canvas panels. I've really loved collaging on canvas and then painting over it using my gel plates, and I thought, why don't I just print right on the canvas? I'd seen Yates Makes do that, and I thought, what a great idea. And I decided to do that with those 3 canvas panels there, and it actually worked pretty well. I was surprised. I didn't know how the texture would do. But we're going to jump right in where I have done my photo transfer, put paint down, and put my paper on, and I had been letting it dry. And I'm getting this issue where I'm getting some wrinkles on my paper. I find I get the best prints when I let the paper dry on the plate, but with this really large plate, I'm getting wrinkles. And I was finding the same thing when I was using a silicone mat to do prints too. I think I need a heavier paper, but then it gets really expensive. And this is some, I think Strathmore 400 drawing paper that I had. It was the only thing big enough that I have for this. It's not watercolor paper, and watercolor paper is too textured. Plus, I don't want to use up expensive papers on my gel plate, but I might have to get the results I want. So you can let me know. I'm thinking about ordering some 18 by 20 Blick sulfite drawing paper because I've had really good luck with that, but it's on the smaller plate. So I just don't know if I get the larger sheets of that, if it's going to work very well. But I love how this print came out. It was my first one on that big plate. I have some Guitar Magazine photo transfers there. I think it worked out really well, and I was really happy with the way it came out. I was actually filming a bit on my phone too, because I thought I might use that on Instagram. I haven't, but I don't know. I thought I would try that. But I really like how this came out, and I also used some of my handmade stencils that I cut with my Locklit die cutter. That video is on my channel if you want to see my review on that machine. I didn't film making the stencils because I'm not a tech review channel really, and it is technology, but I was using the technology for art purposes. So anyway, we're back to the time-lapsed action here, and I decided I wanted to play with some more photo transfers, but I decided to prep the just do little parts at a time, because I find that's a little bit easier. The big plate is so large that it's a little overwhelming. So instead, I'm finding clear spaces on the plate and just rolling out a little bit of black paint, and then putting my magazine into that and trying to be able to manage it rather than having the whole plate with all the fresh ink and having to deal with it all at once, you know. Now, I would like to get some more magazines to do this technique with. I want to hit up some thrift stores because magazines are kind of expensive and I don't want to just buy them for this purpose. Although, I don't know, I haven't bought a fashion magazine probably in a decade, so I think I might buy like a copy of Vogue or something and actually read it and then, you know, use everything for image transfers. I like the look of it, but then again, you also get into a little bit of a copyright issue that I don't know. I don't know. Can you use magazine transfers like as collage fodder in your backgrounds for paintings without it being a problem with copyright? I don't know. Just some things I'm thinking about as I'm doing this process here. But it's a lot of fun. I think it's pretty unrecognizable by the time I'm done. That's one of my handmade stencils that I did with a Locklick die cutter. Very easy to use die cutter, but you have to use it with your computer or with a smartphone. And you have to be connected to the internet. So that's something that I'm not super thrilled with about that. But you could use SureCuts a lot, the newest SureCuts a lot software with that cutter and not have to be on the internet. So if anything happened to that company, I would just buy the more modern version of that software. I use the older one with my old Cricut machine. I love that software anyway. So I feel all right with about that. But it is something to consider if you're buying a die cutter. So I've decided I'm using some butcher paper because I don't want to use up all my drawing paper. I don't have that much of it. Oh, I love how that came out. So I'm kind of, while I'm waiting for that to dry, I just grab one of my larger, my 12 by 14 plates, throw it down on top of the 16 by 20 gel plate, and I'll play with that for a bit, and just so I can do something. Honestly, this was just a day of creative play, hanging out with my friend Karen. We were just gabbing and, you know, playing with prints and just having a good time. And I really wasn't worried about what I ended up with. I mean, I like to end up with a bunch of collage paper. That I did the cover of a magazine, did not work at all because I think they coat those magazines with like a varnish, and absolutely did not get any transfer from the cover of the magazine. But that's all right. I decided to just throw another stencil down there, pull off some of the stuff, and then I'll pull a print from that. And that was actually one of my favorite prints of the day, this really pretty orange one. I'll slow it down once we go to pull it because I think that's the most interesting part of it. This is just kind of, I don't know, can be kind of boring, I think, just to watch. But at least you get to kind of see a little bit of the process, and I don't know, I think that's kind of fun too, because we have to play as creatives. We can't just go product, and hope everything comes out perfectly. That's not how it goes. We have to actually experiment and try different things and refill that creative well. That's how we come up with ideas, just by playing without any sort of outcome in mind, just to see what will happen. And I'm not sure how I want to use this large 16 by 20 plate. I wanted one for so long, and now that I have it, I'm finding that 16 by 20 prints are huge, and maybe I want to use it kind of like in part. I do like how that came out. That was just on butcher paper. I think I mentioned that already. But it's like, how do I want to use this? Do I want to use this to do like full bleed smaller prints and then use the edge for like as a palette? Do I want to do something completely different? Do I want to do these large prints? Do I want to like maybe invest in some like expensive printmaking paper and do some really big fancy prints as a final art form, or do I want to use it as painted paper that I use for collage? I'm not sure. Maybe I want to do a little bit of everything, and the only way you're going to find out is by doing it. Even though I've been gel printing for a long time, I did my first prints probably 20 years ago at a workshop in downtown Bangor with a real gelatin plate. Oh, I love how that one came out. I'm still definitely in that experimentation phase where I find that a lot of times I end up with a surprise when I'm working, and it's not necessarily what I've planned to do. So getting reliable results from printmaking is not something that it's not a skill that I've built yet. So I think making these backgrounds, using this for like a background type of material, it's like I'm making a supply. I'm making these papers that I'm going to use for other things, and I really like that. To pick up some of this grunge on the plate, I find just putting Mod Podge down or matte medium, something like that, almost just clear acrylic medium, it acts as a glue and helps me pull some of that stuff up there. So whenever you see this kind of like milky stuff go down on the plate, that's generally what it is. But here I'm doing some color because I don't know. I need some color. I need some color in my life. I'm just playing. Like I said, I like this kind of modeled look, and then I can throw these patterns over it. And another reason I want to use these paper stencils is because the more I use them, the better they get, because they're just cardstock. I like to cut my stencils out of the, I think it's by Die Cuts with a View. I'm not sure. They might be owned by a different company now. And this is that jeweler's tissue I was telling you about. I like to cut out of that cardstock because it's got a really cool texture to it. It comes in pads, 12 by 12 pads. And I find it's pretty resilient. It cuts really well in my die cutter. Both my Scan and Cut, my Cricut, and my Locklit cutter, it cuts really well in those electronic cutters. It doesn't snag too much, and it doesn't wear the blades down. But then, and it is a fairly lightweight cardstock. It's probably about 65 pounds or so. I find that when I use that, and then it's thin enough to do really good prints, but then it gets coated with acrylic, and then it just gets stronger, and the stencils get better and better and better over the years. I know I look like a hobo here. My hair is up. I'm wearing my like grungy flannel lined L-bean shirt that has paint on it. It's, I'm just trying to be warm and make some creative stuff. And there you can see I printed on some canvas panels. And one idea leads to another. As I'm looking back at this footage, I'm thinking, well, why don't I try printing on some stretch canvas? Because I could actually really press down in between the stretcher bars and get an even better impression than I can on the canvas panels, because like I'm giving it my all, and still I can't seem to get enough weight down onto the canvas panels sometimes to get a really good impression. Still, it's cool and grungy, and I know it's going to be fun to paint over them. To even just have that bit of a texture started on your canvas already, I think is inspiring. Kind of takes the fear of the blank page away. So here, actually, because you can see I'm really trying to put my weight into it, I decided just to throw some heavy bead boxes down on and let it kind of sit on the canvas panel as it, just to put some weight on while it dries. So, you think of different things as you're going along, and I think that's part of the fun. And it's stuff that you wouldn't think of if you weren't actively playing. You can't just sit around and wait for inspiration to strike. Sometimes you just got to get your materials out and play with them and see what sparks as you're doing that. It's easy in our hyper-productive world to think that everything we do has to be perfect. Everything we do has to result in something productive, but that's not how art works. You're not going to be batting 1,000. You're not going to create a painting every single day. Sometimes you're going to be organizing your stuff. Sometimes you're going to be puttering around. Sometimes you're going to be doing sketches to kind of figure out where you want to go next. Sometimes you'll be reading or watching a film or going for a walk, doing things that fill the creative bucket so that when you sit down at the easel, you'll be able to create something nice. You won't have anything to say as an artist if you don't fill the bucket, if you don't take risks, if you don't try new things. Otherwise, you'll just be cranking out the same thing day after day. And that is a recipe for burnout. I love the different textures on this. I love the colors, the subtlety. To me, that is such a nice print that I would probably use as a background for a painting or a drawing. And I wouldn't even need to collage things on it because I feel like that's interesting enough. But I never would have come up with that print if I wasn't just, fooling around and playing with my supplies. So it's never a waste. I know it can feel like we're just wasting materials or wasting time when we're experimenting, but you're not going to become a good artist if all your supplies stay in pristine condition on the shelf. In fact, they'll go bad. They'll go bad before you can use them, and that's not why you bought them. I know I talk about this a lot because I think that we put so much pressure on ourselves. And I mean, I've done it too, where I've been, I don't know, it's like I want to create something, but I'm feeling kind of tired and lazy. So then it's like, oh, I don't have a great idea. So what's the use of doing anything? But it's much better to actually do something with your time. Try experimenting and coming up with something than to just let the time pass and scroll on your phone. So I guess the moral of this video is to create. It's not a waste, even if you make stuff that you end up throwing away. It's still not a waste because you are exercising those creative muscles, and you don't win every race, right? No athlete wins every game, and you're not going to make a stunning piece of art every time you sit down to create. If you do, that means you're not taking risks, and your work's going to become very boring and unsatisfying. You have to play to refill your creative buckets and to be able to create the art you want to create create and even think about the art you might want to create and come up with ideas for different types of experiments you want to do. You've got to put the time in at the art table and play. And there's my recipe, there's my prescription. Play with your art supplies today, have a great time, and I am rooting for you. So with that, go forth, dig out those supplies. Until next time, happy crafting.